You're watching The Business of Law, brought to you by Bloomberg Law and the ABA Journal. I'm Lee Pacquiao. We're taking a look at how in-house counsel use social media today. PR firm Green Target is just about to release their annual survey on the topic. And joining me now, I'm happy to say, is Green Target founding partner John Corey. Welcome, sir. Thanks for coming by today.
Thanks for having me.
So this is the third year you've been conducting this survey on social media and how it's used by in-house counsel. Really interesting results. I wanted to start off with having you walk us through the so-called invisible user trend. What is an invisible user as it relates to social media, and why do we care?
Great question. We termed invisible user back in 2012 when we did our second study, and we were measuring that in-house counsel were becoming, voracious consumers of content.
Really?
Yes.
Some people might find that surprising.
Yes. Well, they were. We started to see that they were going to blogs often to read content, not to contribute to it. Going to LinkedIn to build connections, to receive news and information, but not necessarily to initiate discussions. So it's really about using the tools to consume information, and we thought that what we were finding is that because of that, you cannot apply consumer marketing metrics to this particular set of tools. There's a lot of people in the legal marketing space that want to try to apply old techniques to how you measure, but it's not about, they're not looking for conversation, they're not looking for dialogue, they're not looking for discussion, they're looking for good information. And if firms can produce that on the channels where they're congregating, such as blogs and LinkedIn, then we're finding that they're going to be able to build a good following. And if they can do that, it's all about, in our view, engagement is about converting online relationships into offline
Right,
ones.
that's just exactly where I want to go. So once you know that the vast majority of in-house counsel aren't really there to contribute to the conversation, they're really there just to listen, in a sense.
Yes.
How does a law firm or a solo practitioner that's trying to pitch them to get work take the knowledge gleaned from your survey to the final endpoint of actually getting a client that's going to pay them?
Sure.
Not an easy process.
No, not an easy process. We think it's about, it gets down to quality, producing good content, understanding where counsel are congregating online. We know that they're on blogs. We're going to talk about that. We know that LinkedIn comprises the greatest concentration of lawyers anywhere in the social web today.
Now, are they using that to get another job, or are they using it to generate content, interact with others, use it as a true social media site?
They're using it in multiple ways. They're using it to connect with in-house colleagues. They're using it to connect with outside counsel with whom they work. They're using it to connect with outside counsel with whom they don't work. They're using it to get news and information. They're connecting with business leaders. So they're using the tool in multiple ways, and it's the most frequently used platform for professional reasons.
We also have an interesting stat jumping out at us here. Wikipedia usage is up. Now, don't tell me that in-house lawyers are using Wikipedia to do their work. They're not looking up terms of art on Wikipedia that they're supposed to know already, are they?
It's interesting. The last couple of years, the Wikipedia issue has raised more questions. People are like, really? Is Wikipedia really being used that frequently?
Well, it's like doctors. You wouldn't want to hear that most doctors are using Wikipedia more than ever.
Right. We found that it's among the most frequently used platforms for professional reasons, for personal reasons, and we've seen the last couple of years that it's been inching up on the credibility scale as well. So the way that they're using it is for research. And over the last couple of years, the majority were using it to research topics of personal interest. But in the last year, we've seen a pretty significant jump in the percentage of counsel that are using it to conduct business and industry research. So it was 50% that were using it for business purposes in 2012, and we've seen that jump up to 65% in 2013. So it's actually one of the biggest percentage leaps that we've seen in our 2013 data.
We were talking before about how in-house counsel use and digest materials that are put out by law firms for research purposes, print material primarily. But your report was also interesting because it made note of what's happening in the video sphere. Of course, we make video here at Bloomberg Law.
Yeah.
Law firms are also trying to get into that space. How are they doing?
On the video side, we found through some of the other questions that we asked a very specific question on video, but a few of the lead-up questions were, how often are you using video, just in general, to get professional content? About 25% of counsel are going to YouTube and other channels to get professional content. About 60% of counsel are going to YouTube and other channels to get video of a personal nature. Now, when it comes to law firms actually publishing video, either on their websites or on firm-branded YouTube channels, very few of them are actually getting traction with inside counsel. Now, we don't think that many firms are doing it today, and many firms aren't investing the time and the resources in the production types of technologies to be able to do it well. We think that there's an opportunity. We didn't specifically ask, if law firms provided higher quality content through video, would you come? We didn't ask that question, but we think we can infer from the data that if firms start to move into this direction, that we think that there will be an audience if it's done well.
When we talk about lawyers using technology, one issue that always pops up is the generational gap. Are older attorneys going to be as willing and able to engage in social media as their younger peers? I would also think at some point this begins to even out. I'm starting to see older and older people use Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter. What are you seeing in your study?
Going back to 2010, we saw a sharp generational divide. Now, take blogs aside. Regardless of company size and age group, we saw that counsel were viewing blogs as reliable and credible sources. It was very even. But when we got into specific platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, we saw that counsel in their 30s, the young users, were very active on these platforms. But as we got into the subsequent age groups, counsel in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, we started to see a pretty sharp decline in usage. Flash forward to 2012, it started to even out a little bit. Counsel in their 30s, their usage stabilized, but counsel in their 50s and 60s, the older group, started to substantially increase their usage. And now in 2013, we're starting to see older counsel starting to taper off a little bit in how they're using the tools. There could be any number of things that are driving that. They're in their latter stages of their careers, of course, so they're not vying for that next promotion or that growth and income progression, for example, as their younger peers. And I think generationally, it's not as much a part of their DNA. So we saw that there was a big jump last year, and now it's just tapering off a little bit. It's not as low as it was in 2010, but I think it's safe to say that younger lawyers are using the tools much more than older lawyers.
So John, 40-some-odd pages here, really, really interesting survey looking at how in-house counsel are using social media. For a solo practitioner or someone who's at a law firm trying to get more work from in-house counsel, what's the key takeaway? What do you just tell them at the end of the day they need to focus on?
I'd have to break it down into a few points. LinkedIn remains the serious social platform. I mean, again, it comprises the greatest concentration of lawyers. 67% have used the platform professionally in the last week, 40% in the last 24 hours. So if there were one tool that law firms were going to invest in, it would have to be LinkedIn, because there are more lawyers there than anywhere else. Blogs also continue to be valuable owned media assets. They're growing in influence and credibility, and when done well, and this is a key point, we've measured this for 3 years now, when blogs are well executed, we have measured that in-house counsel feel that they do have an influence on hiring decisions. And we found this year that 53% of counsel agreed or somewhat agreed with that statement. 55% agreed with it in 2012, and 50% agreed with it in 2010. So it's been a very steady, even view that there is a connection between high-quality content delivered through blogs and hiring decisions.
All right. So the message here is get on blogs, get on LinkedIn if you're a law firm.
Yes.
Great. John, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you very much.
That's John Corey, founding partner of PR firm Green Target. If you'd like to learn more about the issues we just discussed, be sure to go check out our offerings on BloombergLaw.com and also on the Bloomberg Terminal. You can see more of our videos on YouTube, and you can follow our updates on Twitter. I'm Lee Pacchia. Thanks for watching.